Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1146. Good Thursday. Thursday. It is Thursday. And tomorrow you will see today 1 million Cubs, the name of today's show. We're going to talk a little Cubs. Nice win last night. Big win. Scary win. Had a big lead, and then it turned into a tie. The Cubs were able to win the game. High scoring game. What was the score? Like 9-8, something like that. High scoring game. Fly the W and get out the brooms. The Rockies are not very good. So I don't ride the baseball roller coaster. And that's the emoji of the year for me that I use is the roller coaster, because Cubs fans, and I'm sure this is with every baseball fan base, they ride the roller coaster. The highs are the highs and the lows are the lows. Oh my God, Christopher Morel, he's the best. Seiya's going to be an MVP. The highs of the roller coaster. And then you lose a couple games. Oh my God, we suck. Oh, Council's terrible. It's the highs and the lows. So it's the roller coaster. So after every win or loss, I will, in my Cubs group chat, I will place the roller coaster emoji. It's just like you got to have it. Look at World Series champions year after year. Go through their wins and losses. I did this with the Texas Rangers because the Cubs played the Texas Rangers to start this season. I mentioned like late August, like mid-August to mid-September, the Rangers were like 4-16 for a stretch. It's like you're going to have in 162 games, you're going to have, but it's highlighted at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season. So ride the roller coaster. We are riding high right now after a sweep of the Colorado Rockies. Now, today's an off day. Tomorrow, the Cubs. I bought this of all places, Arizona. It was freaking cold half the time I was there. And you would think, well, how often are you going to wear a hoodie in March in Arizona? Well, I think I got three days of this hoodie. Off day today. Tomorrow, the Dodgers come into town. The Dodgers. And it's going to be a fun day for me. I will be acquiring my 1 millionth Cubs baseball card. So that's coming up. I'm going to share some details that I haven't shared yet here on Hobby Evolution, but since there's no Hobby Evolution tomorrow, might as well share it. I thought there was going to be some I'll just come out and say, so Topps was at my house. So I was teasing that. I'm like, you'll find out. I thought they were going to use that, maybe like tease it the week of this week, but I haven't seen it. So I don't know what their trip to my house was for. So Topps was at my house the day before I left for spring training. Topps sent a couple of their production team, film crew. So they were here for a few hours, and I did an interview. They filmed my card room. I showed off some of my favorite card, like just a whole bunch of just content. So Topps was at my house, and so we're gonna do a thing tomorrow, Wrigley Field. So, and I honestly don't know. I don't know what the 1 millionth card is going to be. Topps, in collaboration with the Cubs, are giving me my 1 millionth Cubs card tomorrow. But that's about all I know. I know where I'm sitting, where the seats, the tickets they gave me. I know where those are. Section 108. 108, 108 years. I know what time I got to get there. And then I know a couple other things, but I don't know what the card is going to be. So it'll be fun. I know that. I've got my wife will be coming down. She hasn't been to Wrigley in a while. And my best friend growing up, and so he's coming. We're going to pick him up along the way. My mom and my cousin are coming in. I've got friends from high school that are coming in. So, and of course, all my Club 400 friends. Was on the Club 400 podcast last night with Stu and William. We had a lot of fun just talking. It wasn't a podcast. And what I loved about last night's podcast, it's available. Check it out, Club 400 podcast. I wonder if I can find it just Googling Club 400 podcast. What I liked about last night's podcast was I'm going to copy the link and put this in this chat. There you go. Club400radio.podbean.com. What I like, Stu like ask some questions and it's like, whoa, nobody's ever asked me. That's a deep question. It's not like, do duplicates count? What's your most expensive card? What's your favorite card? Those are like the three main questions. And I get asked in every interview. And I get it because not, their viewership is or readership is going to be different than the next and the next and the next and the next. So I get it. So it was on the Club 400 podcast last night. I will be throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley Field tomorrow. They actually asked me, and here's the story. And I shared this on Club 400. I shared it on the Club 400 podcast before I even shared it here on Hobby Evolution. But I've told people about the first pitch, but I just haven't publicly talked about it. Here's how I found out about the first pitch. So Topps was at my house, did some filming. And before we did the like sit down interview, they gave me a sheet of questions that they were going to ask. And they're like, here's some questions we're going to ask. You've probably answered all of these questions 100 times. Yes, I have most of them. And so I'm reading through, and of course, it's all questions that I, have answered multiple times. I get to the bottom, and there's, what are your thoughts on throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley Field? And I'm like, oh, that would be cool. And then it's like, what are you going to wear for your first? I'm like, wait, am I throwing out the first? I'm like, holy shit, I'm throwing out the first pitch. So I have thrown out the first pitch at minor league games. I've never even stepped foot on Wrigley Field. So it's going to be overwhelming. It is going to be right now. I'm like, so like, what are your feelings? It's still a pinch me moment. And I think back to like this is literally a dream come true. To be honored by the team that I'm collecting with the main manufacturer of baseball cards. And in this journey that has taken 6.5 years. And it is like, that's like, it's hard to describe my thoughts. Like the day to day though, it won't hit me until I like step foot on Wrigley. I think that's when it's going to hit me like, oh my God, but it is crazy. It's something that I never thought would happen. And here we are, 30 hours away. I have thrown a first pitch before. In fact, it's right here, the first pitch. So I'll tell you the story before I show you the ball. So 2008, I threw out the first pitch for the Peoria Chiefs, who were a Cubs affiliate. And I was thinking this morning, who was on that 2008 Peoria Chiefs team? And I'm sure there were some future big leaguers. I don't think there were any superstars. When I actually worked for the Peoria Chiefs, Javi Baez was on that team. He was the biggest name. 2008. I know this was 2008. I'm just going to type this in. So I threw out the first pitch, Peoria Chiefs, 2008. Couldn't tell you who caught the first pitch. Let's see who was on. Members of the 2008 Peoria Chiefs. Blake Lally. He actually might have, because he was a catcher, and he might have caught the first pitch. Oh, Josh Donaldson and Josh Harrison were on the 2008 Peoria Chiefs. Josh Vitters, who was like the number one prospect. Brandon Geyer. So Blake Parker, I think, played a little bit. Ryan Sandberg was the manager. Okay. How come I don't remember any of this? Did I drink too much in the suite? Josh Donaldson. So who do we have? Josh Donaldson, Scott Air, but he was on rehab, I think. Marwin Gonzalez, I think he played some big league ball. Brandon Geyer, of course, Josh Harrison. Let's see. Jonathan Moda, who's now in the Cubs organization as a coach. Jake Opitz, who I believe is Casey Opitz, who's in the Cubs organization now. I believe Jake is Casey's older brother. Blake Parker, who I believe was a relief pitcher in the big leagues for a bit. Let's see. Josh Fitter. So there you go. So 2008, I throw out the first pitch. And, I thought like I was an actual pitcher. Like I thought the first pitch was like, you've got to whiz it in there. Now I had speed at like 57 miles per hour. My 57 mile per hour fastball, I whizzed that thing in, but I just don't have no control. Had no control. I bounced it. And so from 2008, you can still see the dirt from me bouncing it at O'Brien Field. I think it was what it was called then. So, and it's actually signed. It's a Peoria Chiefs logo ball. It's signed by Pete Vanaken, who was the Peoria Chiefs owner. And he said, hi, Bo, even spelled my name correct. Pete Vanaken. Pete Vanaken, if you're not familiar, he was not only the owner of the Chiefs, but probably more famously known as Harry Carey's like drinking buddy and best friend. Pete Vanaken gave the eulogy at Harry Carey's funeral back in 1998. So Pete Vanaken, who we lost a few years ago. And Pete was such a great guy. When I worked for the Chiefs, he would come up. And I think he was starting, this is in 2012 when I worked for the Chiefs. He wasn't at every game. Back in 2008, he was still in good health. So he was at every game in 2008. And he'd walk around, talk to fans, and hang out with fans and all that. So that was my first pitch. The second first pitch I did, I believe, was also in 2008 or maybe the following season in 2009 at Burlington for the Burlington Bees, also in the Midwest League. Probably bounced that. I don't remember that one as much. So I've taken, now that I've experienced, I'm not going to try to whiz it in there. I just want to. It's going to be like a lob. It's just going to be like the old man lob. That's my first pitch strategy. What are you going to do? I haven't thrown a baseball since I bounced one in the dirt in 2008. So that's the plan. Now I've got 6 inches of snow in my backyard, so I can't really go out and practice unless I get my snow boots on. So I have baseballs. Well, I have one in my hand right now. Maybe I should just probably hold a baseball and be like, all right, how am I going to do? Am I just going to palm it? Am I going to fork it? I think I'll fork it. I feel like I have better control if I just see. This is my form. How's my form? There you go. Did not practice. I told, so I did find it. Well, I found out about the first pitch the day before I left for spring training. So I told Ethan Roberts, I'm like, I might need some pitching tips, man. So tomorrow, Wrigley Field, first pitch. I don't know anything about it. I know I'm getting my 1 millionth Cubs card tomorrow. Tops and the Cubs have been planning this. I know the Tops team that were at my house, the film crew, they will also be there taking footage of this momentous occasion. So it's going to be fun. So we are, my wife's in like the middle of the spring market, so it's crazy busy. So we're just going to make a quick day of it, or quick, not a quick day, but we're making a day of it. So we're going to drive down in the morning, tomorrow morning, pick my buddy Scott up on the way. He's just outside. He actually, ironically, he lives like 3 blocks away from Stu in Club 400. So his office building is just off the Interstate 90 that we drive down. So we're going to pick him up there and head in to the friendly confines of my favorite place on earth, Wrigley Field. Excuse me. And my wife's one of my wife's college friends, who's also a huge Cubs fan. Her family had season tickets back in the day, so she grew up. And I'm like, why don't you? Because I was comped 4 tickets, and so my wife's not a baseball fan. I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I want you to like enjoy it also. So pick a friend, pick a friend to come. So a lot of her friends are not in the area. It's tough. It's a Friday game. It's a Friday 1:20 game. So you got to play Ferris Bueller. You got to play a little hooky. Some of my friends have to play a little hooky tomorrow to come out to the friendly confines. But I think there's school. So there's no school tomorrow. Is tomorrow like a holiday or something? Because my buddy Crawley's going to be there, and he's taking a bunch of days. He's taking like all of his days off for spring training and opening day. And fortunately for him, it coincided with spring break, one of those. But he's like, no, we don't have school Friday. And so my wife's friend is also a teacher, doesn't have school. So that's the thing. I really don't have any details. I know when to arrive. I know what, and I've been like in contact with the people at Fanatics, for about a month. They reached out out of the blue. And so here's the thing about, and I'm going to get to the chat so you stop hearing me ramble. So real quick, I'll tell you how my plan was. I could have very easily, and maybe I may have reached 1 million in the off season, in November, December. But I didn't want my millionth card to just be in the mailbox one day and me open the mail and be like, oh, I got 17 cards. Here's 1 million. Yay. I didn't want that. I wanted to build. This is a 6.5-year journey. You can't just go to the post office and get your millionth card. And then what? So I strategically planned out that I wanted to hit it during the season. And I thought and my wife and I even talked about it a little bit, contemplated like, do I do it at spring training? Do I do it at the beginning of the season? And ultimately I thought the beginning of the season would be the best, because baseball's top of mind. And so that was the plan. And I was hoping that somebody would pick up on it. I didn't think it would be Topps or the Cubs. So that was just like the cherry on top. So Fanatics reached out to me about a month ago and said, hey, we've been following your journey and we see you're getting closer. We were running the numbers, and it seems like based on what you've been getting, you might be hitting this in April. And I'm like, yeah. So I told them the story, and I'm like, I'm just kind of sandbagging because I want to get to the season before I hit the millionth. And so they said, okay, so are you okay if we give you your 1 millionth card? I'm like, am I okay with it? Yes, absolutely. So we've been in talks, and like, well, we've been in the background talking to the Cubs, and we want to do this. And so that's how it all kind of came to be. So somebody, multiple people, like, when will we see? Are you going to YouTube it live? Are you going to so I won't be able to, because I'll, be, what I'm doing now. So there will be video. In fact, some of it might even be on the pregame show on the Cubs game. So after it's over with, I'll certainly tweet. Maybe I'll do a quick live video on YouTube. Probably not. It's going to be kind of crazy. It's going to be a crazy day. So I wouldn't expect any YouTube videos, at least on my channel, but there will definitely be tweets. I can do some quick tweets. So that's tomorrow. Where are we at? Let's go to the chat. Victor's in the house. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Go Cubs. We're riding the roller coaster. Big win last night. Nice sweep of the Rockies. Now we've got the Dodgers in town. Kyle, what's up? Good morning. It's the 1 millionth eve. So I'll be counting down the last, 40 cards? 40 cards today. And then I'm going to save a couple of big ones for tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow afternoon, we'll get the millionth. Hey, Brian, what's going on? JW's in the house. Good morning to you. Philly Joe is here. Good morning. Flawed Thinker says, go Nats. Brian is here. Good morning. Baseball is wild. Mikey's here. Good morning. I work at 9 a.m., but just want to sleep. Well, that's why you're here. I'll put you to sleep. Good morning, Steve. What's happening? Dan's in the house. Good evening to you. David, good morning from the snowy Northeast. Yuck. I think, actually, we've got more snow. It's snowing again. God dang it. But I could hear, as I woke up this morning, I could hear like water. And so it's melting somewhere. Doesn't look like it from the looks in my backyard. Actually, the steps, yeah, it's definitely come down. So I had to run the snowblower yesterday. It actually worked much better yesterday than it did Tuesday night when I was outside and got ticked off and had to hate shovel. Harlan's in the house. Good morning. Duke is here. Good morning. Another day, another team trying to push off a Strider start back. Everyone is scared of the Braves. That's what I hate about April baseball, man. Snow, inclement weather, postponements. It's a bitch on fantasy baseball. It is a bitch. So speaking of fantasy baseball, I know Porter's a Cardinals fan. So I just want to talk about fantasy baseball real quick because I remember I had a thumbnail like we're going to talk about fantasy baseball. We never talked about it. Thank you. We talked about like food instead, which is much better than fantasy baseball talk. But I do want to share a quick thought about my fantasy baseball roster and a strategy that I had. So we have it's a keeper. We keep 5 big leaguers. And we introduced 2 years ago, we introduced prospect keepers. So we can keep 2 prospects and basically just stash them on our roster. So if there's like a 19-year-old, somebody who's like the top prospect, we really don't have like a young, like in the past, we had Jason Dominguez and Wander Franco and Jackson Churio. And Churio and Ellie David Cruz, they're all up now. So it was a way to like stash some of those guys. So I had last season to end the season, my prospect keepers were Christian Encarnacion Strand, who debuted last year, and Adel Amador of the Rockies. And Encarnacion Strand I could not keep this year because he made his debut. So once they make their debut, you can still in season, if they make their debut, they are still, as long as you don't activate them, you can keep them as a prospect. But once the season ends, you either have to keep them as one of your 5 big leaguers or you drop them because they're no longer prospect eligible. So that was what happened with Encarnacion Strand. It's like, is he keeper worthy? No. So I had to drop him and I needed to find a new prospect. And so I think I grabbed I think I like Roman Anthony, Boston Red Sox prospect. And then I also have Adel Amador, and it's like, I just don't know about him. So I'm like, I'm going to pick up Victor Scott of the Cardinals, outfielder, speedster, great stolen bases. It's like, he could be something. So I was going to pick him up, and I'm like, I'll just wait. Well, Victor Scott made the opening day roster for the St. Louis Cardinals. Victor Scott was drafted. I'm like, son of a... So this morning, so there's like 3 games on today. There's like, or maybe 6 games. It's very light schedule today in baseball. And so I'm going through and I only have like 3 batters that have games today. So I'm like, what? I picked up Cal Raleigh as a backup catcher. And so it's like, I can drop him. I'm going through like the list. Whoever drafted Victor Scott waived him. So he's a free agent in my league. So I'm like, whoop, boom. Now he doesn't have great numbers, but we're also 6 games into the season. So I was okay scooping up Victor Scott from the St. Louis. Now I have 2 Cardinals on my fantasy team, Jordan Walker and Victor Scott. So that's enough fantasy baseball talk for this morning. Victor hates roller coasters. I've never been on a roller coaster that I can think of. I don't know if it's snowing or blowing. I think it's snowing. I don't think I've ever been on a true roller coaster, because I've never been to like a theme. I've never been to Adventureland, but I can recite their commercials that they've been running for 40 years, the same one. I've never been to Six Flags. I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland. I'm just not a theme park guy. Like, I have no interest in going to any of those places. I just have no interest. And I never did. Like, even the county fair, I would do the tilt-a-whirl and the bumper cars. Those were my thing. It was like, oh, let's go play the Simpsons arcade game. I remember dumping quarters. Me and my friends, there was like 3 or 4 of us at the Henry County Fair in Cambridge, Illinois. And we were at the arcade. There was like this trailer that was like 8 arcade games. And we just pumped quarter. We didn't care about walking the midway. We didn't play about playing games, riding the little mini county fair roller coaster. We just played the Simpsons arcade game like all night. Like, we just kept pumping quarters. And it was like 2-player game. It's like, I'm out of quarters. I got to go find my mom. And we, another random kid would jump in and play. And we had like a group, like we played the Simpsons all freaking night. Henry County Fair. But I never rode a roller coaster. And I don't care to. It's certainly not on a bucket list. Stuke's in the house. Good morning. In the shadows of a million Cubs cards. Flawed Thinker says, always remember that when the Nats won the World Series in 2019, they had less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs at the end of May. Anything can happen. Baseball's a funny game, isn't it? Baseball's a funny game. That's why we cannot ride the baseball roller coaster. Mr. Archer, good morning. Brian says, a real 1 of a 1 million banger, and I have no idea what it's going to be. No idea. Lisa's in the house. What's going on? James, you getting a card in Topps like Striker? I don't know. I have no idea what the 1 millionth card is going to be. Brian says, are you singing the stretch? No, they've heard me sing, and they're like, yeah, we can't have you sing the stretch. They're like, well, you will tempt it with the first pitch, but no stretch. East Coast Tom's in the house. If you bounce that first pitch, you'll forever be known as Bo Bartman. Charlie's here. What's going on? Listing and shipping and coffee? Oh, my. Dan says the Cubs will give you a 1987 Topps Ryan Sandberg. It's like, hey, this is my 3,342nd 1987 Topps Ryan Sandberg card. Andy Mack, I am throwing out the first pitch. Tracy, good morning. Congratulations. Tomorrow sounds like it's going to be a blast. It'll be fun. It will be fun. David says, don't forget to record the Cubs game tomorrow in case you were on the telecast. So I have MLB TV. So I'll be able to go back and watch it. I don't get the Marquee Network because I'm out of market. So I could get, like, people are always saying, well, you can get a, what do you call it when you VPN or something? I'm like, that sounds difficult. That sounds very techie. That doesn't sound like something I could figure out. So no VPN. So I'll just suffer with the MLB TV, which plays Marquee Network anyway, the games. Good morning, Christian. Mark, good morning. Congrats. If you throw out the first pitch, just don't bounce it. Christian says, did you show the Topps folks your favorite 1990 scorer, Earl Cunningham? I did talk about it, but I'm like, because I know I've been in media, so you sometimes you've got to massage, you've got to produce content, right? So does Topps want to feature a scorecard? So I did tell them, and I'm like, I don't know if you want to, like, one of my favorite cards. This is the story behind one of my favorite cards, but unfortunately it's not a Topps card, but I told the story anyway. Another thing that I was showing off when Topps was here was my Hank Sauer game used cleats. So Hank Sauer was the 1952 National League MVP. I have his game used cleats. And in one of the shoes was a, what was the dog, Red Heart? The dog food cards. There's a Hank Sauer, and it was in there, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, this is and they're like, that's okay. It doesn't have to be a Topps card. And I'm like, wait, but I know where, and I have I think it's a 53 Hank Sauer, and it was actually I think it was in a box in the other room, and I'm like, I know where I can find a Topps Hank Sauer card. So now I have a 1953 Topps Hank Sauer card in those cleats. Philly Joe, what I really want to know is, does Biscuit make the cut on Topps filming? So here's the funny thing about that. So Biscuit, typically, like Biscuit, when people come over, when guests come over, Biscuit's like, oh, hey, look at me. And but then, like, after 5 minutes, like, she gets her pets, she sniffs, she licks, and she's done. She goes back upstairs onto her perch on the couch. But for whatever reason, she was fascinated with the Topps guys. And so she was hanging out. And then when I went to do my sit down interview, she's like sitting at my feet and like, can I come up and sit on your lap? It's like, she's like, I need to be on camera, but I don't think she made the cut. We'll see. Brian says, this is so cool. NYC Life, what's up? I have decent Yanks tickets for Saturday's game, paid $120 each. Prices went up at the stadium this season. Used to be $70 for the same seats before COVID. Yeah, everything's going up. Charlie says, old style should help get through that at Wrigley. It's going to be freaking cold. And I typically don't. Now, this is a special occasion, so it's like, yeah, I'll come to Wrigley. But normally I don't go to Cubs games until like after Memorial Day, because you never know what April, May weather in Chicago is going to be. And it's going to be freaking cold tomorrow. 45 degrees. At least the sun may peek out through the clouds. But it's going to be cold. But a couple old styles, adrenaline from being on the field, and just my day in general will help me get through. Steve, what's up? Such exciting news, and I'm so very happy for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stuke says, enjoy the moment and have fun. Thank you. Crazy stuff. Congrats on your success. Thank you, Brian. Cooter's in the house. Make sure to steal some grass and dirt when you're on the field. I think they're pretty strict about one of the things that I learned about, and I haven't, and I'm sure I'll receive like rules before going out there. I know and I'm sure every stadium is like this, every team is like this, but I do know that at Wrigley, people try to spread ashes like on the field, and that's like a big, and I think it's probably like a hazard. Like that's like, you can't just people's like human ashes. So I know that they're pretty strict on, like, they keep a close eye, and there's cameras everywhere, so can't get away with that. I'm not gonna. I don't want to do anything that I'm not supposed to do. Christian says, threw the first pitch at a Tigers game before, caught by Tigers legend Ben Petrick. Amazing experience. That is awesome. That is awesome. Mikey says, what are your friends on the Cubs going to think when they see you throw out the first pitch? They're probably going to say, damn, we should have gave him some tips. He's got a weak arm. He's got to bulk that arm up. Tracy says, Royals bullpen blows another one last night. Ouch. I believe they have done that in all 4 losses, the Royals bullpen. That sucks when bullpen losses are awful. Over under of Bo's pitch landing further away from the catcher than 50. Oh gosh. And that's what I'm like worried about. Like, that's my fear, is I'm just going to end up like the nerves it's going to slip and I'm going to throw it into the stands. Bouncing Bo. Stuke says, I want the first pitch to be not memorable, because the memorable ones are like 50 Cent. Or they have a dirt stain on the ball. And it's like, remember when you bounced in the dirt? If you bounce this one, you get to take some Wrigley dirt with you. Hey, there you go. I can't pick it up, but I could bounce it, and I've got a little bit of, I actually have right behind, it's behind the camera is actually Wrigley Field dirt. How about this for a moneymaker? Now it was I'm sure they probably charge like $50. It looks like there's even some grass in there. But this was Alec Mills, who threw a no-hitter. Is that who? It doesn't even say on here. No hitter, 9-13-20. I'm pretty sure it was Alec Mills no hitter. Cubs beat the Brewers 12-0. So this is actually Wrigley Field dirt from that no hitter. This was on sale at the Cubs convention this year for like $10. And I'm like, I'll pay $10 for that. I've pissed away $10 on dumber things. Value Box Digger says, wait, I missed something. Bo is throwing out the first pitch. Wrigley Field tomorrow. Cubs Dodgers. I know, right? I didn't have anything else to talk about. So here we got to the topic. Brian, good morning. Dan says, yes, and the Cubs are giving him his 1 millionth card. 1 million cards. Kyle says, congrats. I guessed Wrigley in first pitch on Twitter. Now, if Eddie Vedder presents the card, I will feel like I predicted the future. That would be my, and I mentioned this on the Club 400 podcast last night. There's not, if you could meet anybody that you've never met before, Eddie Vedder is number one on my bucket list. I have to meet Eddie Vedder, even if it's just for 10 seconds. Just have to meet Eddie Vedder. I love Pearl Jam. And I think that was a question they asked me, and they're like, who would you want out of anybody living or dead? Who would you want to catch the first pitch? And that's a really tough one. I'm a realist. And so I don't like impossibilities. So Ernie Banks isn't coming back from the dead to catch my first pitch. So it's well, I'd want somebody living. And the only person I could think, Eddie Vedder. I've met Ryan Sandberg several times, Billy Williams. I've met most of I've never met Cody Bellinger or Dansby Swanson, but it's they're not on my bucket list to it's not I have to meet these guys. Tracy says that is awesome. Can't wait to watch the game. Hope it is on the broadcast. Throw the pitch from the mound, says Mark. I'm going to throw it from wherever they tell me to. Todd says, congrats. So exciting. Enjoy every second. Do you throw from the mound or in front? I've heard people say in front is the way to go. I would assume in front of the mound is where they direct the first pitches from. I haven't paid close attention, but I'm pretty sure they probably don't want you on the mound because they so carefully, meticulously get everything ready. I would assume it's in front of the mound. Throw a four-seamer straight. Just throw strikes. That's what one of my friends texted me. Just throw a strike. Yeah. Are they going to have that part of the broadcast? I do not know. I have the T-Mobile deal where I can watch all the games. There you go. If it is part, I'm sure it'll probably be at the very beginning of the broadcast. If it is, but I don't know if it will be. Brian says, I'm so excited for your 1 millionth Cubs card. You've put so much work into it. Enjoy your moment. Can't wait to hear all about it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tracy says, just shared this with my wife. She even thought it was cool. Make us all proud with a strike. Let's see. Andy Mack says, dude, you didn't practice when you were in Arizona. Gutsy. I know. That shouldn't. And I thought about it. Let's go. I don't even have a glove. I haven't owned a baseball glove in 30 years because I didn't play we didn't have a high school baseball team at my school. So my last, and I didn't play summer travel ball because I wasn't good. I'd rather just piss around my summer. So 8th grade was the last time. So I probably had that glove until it got thrown away 10 years later, but I never used it. So the last time I probably played catch with a glove and a ball was in 1996. Brian says, here's a question. What do you think your dad would say about you hitting your goal and throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley? He would be over the moon. So growing up, my dad wasn't a big sports guy. My dad was a gearhead, construction guy, watched football on Sundays, but he wasn't growing up. He wasn't really big into baseball. I mean, he liked the Cubs. I wouldn't call him a fan until he retired. And then that was I think that's if you're a fringe Cubs fan and when you retire, you become a fan. And that's what happened with my dad. So there was a time that my dad knew way more about the Cubs team than I did, because in the 2000s, I was very, what do you call it? I was on the fringe of, I didn't really, I was an off and on collector. I didn't follow baseball too closely, probably from like, the 03 season, obviously I was following that closely, but probably in like 2006 until like 2012, because I was busy with broadcasting and other stuff that my dad would be like, "Oh, what do you think about Zambrano's day today?" And I'm like, "Oh, what happened?" Like, I didn't follow it. I didn't play fantasy baseball in those years. So I think he would be, I would have to set up whenever the Cubs, I think it was when they went away, when they first went away from WGN. Has that been like 10 years now? It would have been like 2000. So my dad passed away in 2016, like right before the like 2 months before the World Series. And it would have been like the 2014 or 2015, maybe even the 2016 season. The Cubs were still being broadcast. Marquee Network wasn't a thing yet. So they weren't on WGN. So they weren't on like DirecTV, what my dad had. So he had a separate, I set up a separate TV because they were on they would run on like the local Fox affiliate or whatever. So I set up a separate TV for him that with the bunny ears, with the antenna, so he could watch the Cubs games. George says, "Good job, son. Where's the eating place?" Right? That's what my dad would say. "Good job, son. Where's the eating place?" Hit the like button. Thank you, Todd. We should be at 100% with this news. Thank you. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store. How cool, says Kevin. Thank you. Based on the comments, just hopped in. My prediction I told Porter came true. That is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Christian says, "What are the chances you were a Topps Now card?" Probably very small, like 1%. I deal in absolute, so I don't deal in impossibility. So it's not zero. There's always a chance. That chance might be 0.1%, but there's always a chance. But I would not put money on that. Have a buddy live stream your pitch to hear. That would be, we could do that. Cooter says, "Knowing Topps and all their screw ups, enjoy the Shohei Ohtani card they give you tomorrow." They asked me, they said, "So we want to do it, opening day is out, obviously, because they have bigger fish to fry on opening day. But the other 5 games in the first 2 series at Wrigley are open. Do you have a preference on Rockies or Dodgers? And do you have a preference if it's a weekday or the weekend?" And I'm like, "Dodgers, duh." I've never seen Ohtani in a regular season game. I've seen him in a spring training game, but like Ohtani, Yamamoto pitches Saturday, so I'll miss the Yamamoto start. But I'm like, "Dodgers," and they're like, "We thought you would say that, but we had to ask." Mikey says, "I contributed a card to your account." Absolutely, many of you did here in the chat, and I thank you all. So happy for you. I found you in 2020, and I don't know if P and I would have enjoyed our hobbying as much as we do without your program, friendship, and introductions. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And that's what I try to tell people. It's like through this whole process, it started as a project to collect Cubs cards. Like that was the number one goal, was I just want 1 million Cubs cards. But what happened very early on was I was introduced to other collectors, other Cubs fans, that turned into friendships, and that beats cards every day. Like, would I know any of you without cards? Most likely not. But cards introduced us, and now, and a lot of us share not just cards, but we love Casey's gas station pizza together. So that's what the journey has been more important to me, is the people that I've met along the way, the relationships and the friendships and all that stuff. Value Box Digger says, tweet it out, and 10,000% it will be a Topps Now card. Topps all about that money. I don't think a 1 million Cubs Topps Now card will generate too much money. Let's see. Mark says, will there be a Bo Topps Moments card? Probably not. Zach says, my new sump pump is working harder than low roller scratcher at a timeshare convention that doesn't allow Bitcoin for payment. Mikey says, work will put me to sleep. We still haven't seen low roller scratcher. I'm getting concerned. Bitcoin is dropping and no word from low roller scratcher. Maybe Bo will make it to Allen and Ginter. That's a dream right there. Being on an Allen and Ginter card, that would be the ultimate. George says, better wear a hoodie tomorrow that you don't care about. Topps chopping up for game-used Cubs hoodie. Watch the million card be a Topps instant card that they make one of, so not a real Cubs card. Hey, I would take that. Well, if it's a 1 of 1, that would be kind of like, it'd still be cool. We'll see. I don't know what it's going to be. Unicorn Cupcake says, I'm thinking they are going to make a special card just for him, 1 of 1. Brian says, VPN is easy. I can set it up if you'd like. Maybe. Actually, you know what I do need help with more so than a VPN? My TV in there, I need to get it hardwired, and I can't figure out how to hardwire it into the freaking wall. I think I probably just need... No, I tried that. I have an Ethernet cord, but there's no like Ethernet on the back of my TV. So I got to figure out how to directly plug the TV into the internet because it's running off Wi-Fi and it's not reliable sometimes. Harlan says, 1 millionth will be a Topps Now of you throwing out the first pitch, printed on an inkjet during the game. Tiger727, congrats on 1 million. Tomorrow should be a lot of fun. Enjoy the day. Thank you. There he is. There he is. Low Roller wants to know if I'm buying hockey. No, I'm not. I thought about it, but I ended up not buying any Upper Deck hockey cards. Low Roller, how's Bitcoin? Let's see. Dan says, yes, we've been wondering where Low Roller Scratcher has been. He's been busy. Zach and Porter excited that he's back. Orlando's in the house. Good morning. Coming in hot and off topic. The world is balanced again. Right? That's exactly what we needed. LRS Bitcoins. There you go. There you go. Off topic. Just the world is right with Low Roller Scratcher just coming in hot, completely off topic. Johnny M, good morning. Congrats. Are they running your eBay, CDP, and Madison Card Show promos for you? Hey, I need some help. I need some help with that. Value Box Digger says, Ty better get to Wisconsin and make a special Chasing Cardboard episode for the 1 million being complete. Can't have a Chasing Cardboard show without this guy. Dan says, we should do a poll whether you bounce it or not. Low Roller says, is Topps giving you your own baseball cards, your picture on baseball cards? Bob, what's going on? Very exciting. I'll be looking for video since the game isn't on in Madison. It may be MLB, since it's a day game, a Friday day game, it might be on MLB Network. I don't get MLB Network. It's not on YouTube TV. Blasphemy. But it might be. Sometimes the MLB Network picks up some of the day games. Shane, what's going on? Good morning. Joe Caprino's in the house. Make sure you ask Shohei for any good lines to bet. Orlando says, Bo needs a Topps card. Why are breakers the ones getting cards? Cooter says, just know that if you bounce it or airmail the catcher, you will never hear the end of it in this chat. I know. Now you're getting me worried. Are you going to repost the first pitch video on YouTube later today? It's not today. It's tomorrow. We'll see what type of content that I can come up with tomorrow. Bo has actually done something and promote the hobby in a positive way. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sports card ripping teacher. If I'm working that game, I'll catch your first pitch. There you go. It's tomorrow. So are you working tomorrow? Low Roller Scratcher says you can watch Buff Stream if you can't find the Cubs game on your TV. They're annoying. With all the pop-ups and all that crap. Let's see. Value Box Digger says he will post it later today since he's throwing it out tomorrow. Jody, what's going on? Good morning. Run the ball into the catcher like the kid in Sandlot who can't throw. Or I could underhand like John Lester. throwing to first base. Like, I'm not comfortable. Granny style. Jody says, and Pearl Jam is out there promoting their new album and tour. Yes, I'm excited. Pearl Jam coming to Chicago this August 29th and 31st, I believe are the dates. So I'm excited. I'm going to go to the Saturday show. Was talking to Stu and William last night from Club 400. They're going to go. So I'm excited for Pearl Jam at Wrigley. I don't like stadium. I am not a concert guy, especially stadium shows. I'm not a big stadium concert guy. So last time Pearl Jam was in town was it last year or 2 years ago? They played United Center. It's just like, I don't like the United Center. I'm not going. So, but Wrigley, I'm all about it. Drive over tonight and we can practice throwing in the snow, right? Hey, this is we could actually replicate if we don't have baseballs. We could replicate a baseball with the snow. This is like the perfect snowman snow that we got in Madison this week. Dan says, do another poll whether you will get a vintage or ultra modern card. Perhaps you embed the link of your pitch in your soccer card listings on eBay. There you go. Boston Smoke is here. I just told my wife that her idea of giving my ashes the Shawshank Redemption treatment at Fenway won't fly. She's not the first to think of spreading ashes on a field. Porter, what's going on? Just tuned in and scrolled through the chat. Congrats. Thank you. Appreciate that. Low Roller Scratcher won some money. $4 on Powerball last night. Won $1 cash 5 lottery tickets. There you go. Buy some Bitcoin with that. Zach says, nice work. How much did you spend this week to win that? Dan says, are we actually 3 for 75 on the like button? Let's fix that. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Where's the YouTube? Because I can like my own video, and I will do that. So let's all just take the opportunity to like the video right now. I've got 31 now. I was the 30. Oh, wow. We a whole bunch now. 34. So we're doing okay. Brian says, if you were a Topps Now card, I would collect that one. Well, thank you. If you won the jackpot, what would you do with the money? That's a good question for any of us, not just Low Roller Scratcher. But I am curious. I'm most curious of what Low Roller Scratcher's answer will be. If he won the jackpot, what would he do with the money? I don't know. Here's what I would do with money. If I won the jackpot, if I won the Powerball, which, by the way, I don't play the lottery. I have never played the lottery. I've done scratch-offs, but I have never bought a lottery ticket. I've never bought Powerball, weekly lottery. Never done it. So I'll never win the jackpot because I never play. Never say never, but I've gone this long. I think I'm okay with it. But if I won like $100 million or whatever, the first thing I would do is I would ask my wife what I should do with this. Because she's much better with the finances. I'd be like, what should I do with this? NYC Life, you should have Limp Bizkit play break stuff while you throw out the first pitch. They would rock the stadium during the event, bring back the 1999 Woodstock vibes. I like it. Let's see. Zach would buy the card. Kyle, hopefully Topps makes you a 1-of-1 card with some cut autos, maybe Banks and Anson. Shane says, are you allowed to wear a GoPro when you throw the first pitch? Possibly. I don't have a GoPro. That would be pretty cool to strap a GoPro to your chest and have a point of view of the whole thing. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Low Roller Scratcher, what did you find in the latest Goodwill palette? What did I find? Did I find some of these cards? Oh, so last night I did find, now the overall, switching gears for a moment, overall, the Goodwill palette is a lot of junk and crap. But I found another football box with just random stuff, and I saw this card, and I'm like, oh, it's just a reprint. So I'm looking on the back, and it's like, oh, this is not a reprint. Aaron Rodgers rookie card. And it's actually worth more than I expected. And then I found this. It's the Bazooka Jay-Z rookie card, and it's the gold version. And that's like a $30 to $40 card. So those were some of the finds from yesterday. There was a Tony Gwynn rookie the other day. But overall, it's just kind of a dud overall. But, I've found 5 or 6 cards that are in the $25 plus range. So that's a win. Joe Caprino says you can get marquee separately now, even if I'm out of market. Even if I'm out of market? Really? What platform is it on? Or is it separate? Is it just Marquee Network? That's intriguing. I'm going to look that up. Brian says, if you don't have an Ethernet on the back of the TV, I don't think you can hardwire. Most TVs should have one. Well, shit. I'll look again. You know how I am with tech. Hello from the left coast. What's going on? Scott in the house. Ethernet is one of the funnest words to say in the Ethernet. It is fun. I can't just announce that I am taking off school tomorrow. Porter says, try to get in some long toss before your pitch. Brian loves Pearl Jam, but new music from old guys usually sucks balls. I did listen to their new song. They've released, because they have a new album coming out this year, and they released a single already. It's okay. But it also could be one of those where I think every song I hear for the first time, it's like, it's okay. It takes me a while before I'm like, oh, this is a banger. Shane says, if you don't walk out with a sandwich board that says 999,999 Cubs cards, and then have someone erase it and write 1 million on it after giving you the card, I will be semi-disappointed. You might be disappointed. George says, is PCA on the roster in the dugout? Put a card in your pocket and ask for an auto. PCA is in Des Moines. Minneapolis Kids, sorry, I'm sure you've said it already, but when you were doing the official 1 millionth card, is that happening tomorrow? Yes. Or will it be a while still? I have a 999,999 for you if there's time. There is not time. You could be like 1,000,001, but 1 million is tomorrow. 1 million is tomorrow. Zach and Porter says Cubs and Tops are actually bribing him to town to serve him with cease and desist papers for him using the Ivy and the 1989 logo on his cards. Wah, wah. Oh, that's funny. Actually, not a bad idea to throw some snowballs against a target in the house. Isn't a bad idea to get your motion down and loosen the shoulder. Low Roller says, if I win the jackpot, I will buy 100 Bitcoin and 10 million Dogecoin. There you go. That's what Low Roller is going to do with his jackpot. Cooter says on the house, snowballs in the house pisses off wives. If I won the jackpot, I would see how much money it would take to get Bo's 1 million Cubs cards. Who has a GoPro near Bo that he can borrow? George says, you wanted a GoPro to record your non-existent e-bike rides. That's correct. Get one today, take it tomorrow. Yeah, my non-existent e-bike rides, which, hey, I will be jumping on the e-bike this year. Last year was a little busy. I rode my bike once last year. Rode it from the old house to the new house. A total of like 6 miles round trip. How much did you pay for the Goodwill pallet? $600, I think. Sports card ripping teacher says, I am 99% sure you need to be in market for marquee. Well, that's a bummer. Just take the camera down from your guest room clock person. I had to think about that for a moment. I'm like, wait. Great that it's a Dodgers game. I set my DVR to record Dodger pregame and game. Maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so be sure to take a deep breath and take in all the sights. Have fun. Thank you. Low Roller says, are you going to sell on Mercari now? No selling fee for sports cards. I am not going to sell on Mercari. Never say never, but I don't plan on it. How long after Tommy John surgery until you can list again? Ooh, that's a good question. Low Roller says, are you going to ask Ohtani for an autograph? You can resell it in your store. I would not do that. Zach, even better. They will give him Ronnie Woo Woo. The wife won't like that. I wonder if Ronnie will be making an appearance at the game tomorrow. So that's tomorrow. Cody's in the house. Good morning. Congrats on everything. Is Fanatics doing anything with the Madison Card Show? Not yet. Maybe at some point. Hey, we're over 200 total viewers between Twitter and YouTube. That's a first. 202 live viewers between Twitter and YouTube. Awesome. Thank you. Hit the like button. It is WrestleMania this weekend. I will be able to watch Saturday night, Sunday night. I don't know how much of it I'll watch, but I will tune in at some point. So there you go. That's what's going on tomorrow. Card 1 million coming at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And I'll be throwing out the first pitch before the Cubs-Dodgers game. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Follow my Twitter. I'll be counting up. We're not counting down. We're counting up to 1 million. What's our count up to? 999,962. We're getting close. We're inching closer and closer. Let's see. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate that. Harlan says, did Topps feature box 13 in their video? They did take, so I've got a bunch of my Bowman, and it says like 2022 Bowman draft, 2023 Bowman. So they did take video of that. I don't think box 13 made the cut, though. I don't think box 13 made the video. Shane says, hope you guys have a great day. Time for work. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Shane. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. No Hobby Evolution tomorrow. Saturday morning, I will do Hobby Evolution, our typical Saturday time of 8:30 or 9 a.m. And I'll recap my day. It's going to be a whirlwind tomorrow. So tune in Saturday morning. I'll talk all about it. And then what? Oh, that's the fourth biggest question. And then what? What do you do when you hit 1 million? Then I sort and organize. So who wants to help? All righty. Have a great Friday, or have a great Friday. Also have a great Thursday, which is today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Or no, we won't see you tomorrow. Well, you might see me tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow on Saturday.